Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Earthen's Den. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in to the podcast. I'm super, super excited. We hit 1K last week, so a little confetti there. I just want to talk to you guys today about just staying gracious, like throughout life. I've had situations with people, and I've realized with a lot of people, I talk to you guys about this a lot, like opportunists. And it's really scary because, you have something going on. In today's age, it's tough. A lot of people want to be around you, right? And it's a beautiful thing because, I'm all about each one, teach one. But what you have to recognize is that a lot of people want to be around certain people because they are opportunists, right? And what an opportunist is, it's a lot of people, I feel like this is something that's a little bit more like prevalent and common. And the reason is because I don't think a lot of people know what it takes to be successful, the level of work that you have to put in, the person that you have to become, right? Because the thing is, you guys, you can hit your goals, like you can hit your financial goals, you can hit all those things, but in order to sustain like that position, you got to have a different type of level of character. You know what I mean? Like you have to be somebody who is professional and kind, and you gotta have people skills, and so. Let me take a little sip of my tea. Give me just a second here. I'm out here frying fish, y'all, and it's just, oh my gosh. Okay. Ooh. So sorry. At one point, you guys are going to get an editor, and I'm going to be able to edit all that out. But we're just having a conversation, so it's cool. But listen, so, you have a lot of people who don't know what it takes to actually be successful. A lot of people think that it's just, and I'm not even going to say a lot of people, actually, I'm going to speak from my personal experience as well. Coming up, recognizing I had gifts, I was talented. I'm like, I can do this. Like, I can do this. This is going to be a breeze. All I got to do is just focus on the craft, do what it is that I love, right? And you guys can hear that in the earlier seasons where I was like, real, I'm not going to say naive because honestly, I think the coolest thing about having a podcast and just a platform in general, like in regards to what, tailored to what I do specifically, writing, all those things, I get to really look back and see the growth, you know what I mean? And so I really hope that you guys are growing with me and just, giving me that grace to just kind of like be and learn, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I really thought that talent alone was going to take me there, right? And so, it wasn't until I tried many different things that I recognized that it wasn't just talent and that it was definitely, because the thing was with me, I was taking the easy way in regards to like me focusing on my craft, me really getting good at what it is that I do, me becoming a better person. Like I was really focused heavily on personal development. And of course, all of this ended up working for my greater good, but I recognized that the step that I was missing was the work ethic. It was like, I thought that, okay, if I put out this product, if I put out this, it's going to be great. You know what I mean? And I think so often, sometimes we think that, but then I think that there's this opposite side of this to where people really just kind of feel like it's going to just come to them if they manifest it. Man, when I tell you, I knew for me, whatever it is that I had to do to be successful, like I really felt like it was something I was willing to do because I really wanted this. I wanted a life of fulfillment. I wanted to live a very successful life. I was attracted to excellence. I was an excellent person. Like I was going to do what it is that I needed to do. But, in the beginning, I just didn't know what I didn't know. And so I think many people are not knowledgeable on what it is that it takes. And so you have people who are opportunists who will literally hang around you, just to really piggyback off of what it is that you got going on. And this is something I'm really seeing heavily, and it's because nobody really wants to put in the work. Nobody wants to put in the work. Nobody wants to look stupid. Nobody wants to, start something and you don't have all of the tools that you need necessarily to start it. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to get up here and record this video and they don't have, the iPhone 13. I don't even know what iPhone we own these days. When I tell y'all, it's so funny. My partner and when I went to go get my new iPhone, I had no clue. I'm like, wow, this camera, because I was coming from a 7, right? I was the type of person to where, me personally, you guys, like coming up, I don't do anything for the Joneses, okay? So I'm like, look, I'm jugging it out with this iPhone 7, but then, after a while, it kind of just shuts off and, you can't get the upgrades. So I had to upgrade my phone, but, I was still doing what it is that I was doing, even when it was shutting off on me. You know what I mean? Because that's just the person I am. But, I think a lot of people are not willing to endure those things, those embarrassing times, like, failing, trying something, and another thing too, when I say consistency, I think for me, when it comes to, business and the things that I want to do, when it comes to the word consistency, for me, consistency really looks like trying new things, learning and unlearning, and the reason I say that is because it's been times where I started things, like I told you guys about the podcast that I started back in 2017, and here I am now, and it was like, you don't necessarily stop doing it, but there is a point in your business and in your craft where you have to really take a step back and like relearn some things and see what works and what's not working. You know, like this is what most people call like a rebrand or, you know, whatever. But I think that's really important. You know, that's really important because I think a lot of times, you know, we're kind of sticking with something that's not working, you know, and it's like you kind of have to be consistent in finding what works. So that's what consistency means to me. But yes, in summary, I just wanted to say stay gracious throughout your life because, you know, this journey, it's really tough. It's not easy. You're definitely going to lose people along the way, but it's such a blessing. Like anytime something has been removed from my life, there's always been so much more to gain. And I feel like sometimes we can get really caught in that space of loss and we're really saddened about whatever it was that we've lost or, you know, perceived as a loss, but you know, it really was just God doing us a favor. And so I say stay gracious with everything that you do. You know, don't hold on to old hurt. Try to let go of that old pain. Try to let go of that energy. And I tell you guys all the time, it's a matter of being compassionate. And when you have compassion, you actually have understanding, right? And so sit in that space and just be gracious because, you know, your blessings are going to flow. You know, people don't want to rock with you while you're out here hustling because they don't understand what it looks like, you know, to really be an entrepreneur or to really be an artist. Like, it's not easy. It's not just all rainbows and Skittles. You know what I mean? I know we talk about that a lot, but I'm telling you from my own experience, it's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of darkened days where you like, I really don't know what the heck I'm doing, you know? And then there's times where you're like, okay, I see light at the end of this tunnel here, but you still don't know, you know, 7 steps ahead. Where I am today, the positions that I'm in, I can't really say that I seen it coming last year, but I'm so thankful for progression, you know, and every year I get better. Every year I become a better person, right? Every year I get better in regards to my craft and what it is that I'm doing, you know, and so I'm just so thankful on top of the healing work that, you know, some of us are out here doing. Like, man, it's not easy, you know, so just understand when your time comes, like you remain gracious still, but when your time comes, man, you know, you earned it, you know, you earned it, you know, you put that work in, you know what I mean? And so don't become a bitter person. Like, I don't really understand bitterness. I really don't. I can honestly say I've never been a person who was jealous. You know, I've never really been, I've never been that person. And I think, like I said, because I was bullied younger, I was humbled very early on in my life. And so, you know, haven't always kind of been like isolated, you know, because I was bullied at like every school, you know. I mean, yeah, you could probably say I was a simp, but not really. Like, I was just a sweet kid, you know. But what that taught me, you know, first of all, it humbled me, but it taught me later on in my life, in my career, that, you know, I was unique, you know, and so I never really struggled with comparison or like insecurity in regards to like others, because very early on I'm like, okay, something's got to be up, like something got to be wrong, you know what I mean? But I started to recognize, so my indifference was shown to me very early on, and so I never really understood jealousy or bitterness. I hope to one day maybe understand it, but it's just weird because it's like, you know, I'm not gonna say it's weird. And when I say weird, understand that it's because I don't have an understanding of it. You know, if you felt it, that's fine. Like, we're human, but I'm just saying, I'm talking about my experience. I'm saying it's weird because I don't understand it. Right. But it's something that, you know, I don't know, because I'm like, man, you know, you will never be somebody else, you know, and as long as you hold on to that resentment because you'll never be another person, you'll always be looking for yourself outside of yourself. You'll always be looking for yourself in relationships, and it'll always be other people's responsibility to do things for you, to make you happy, to put you on. You know what I mean? You'll always hold others to these very, you know, resentful, you know, kind of like, just like bitter standards. You know, you will always hold grudges towards people. You'll always be in that space because, you know, you're always looking for yourself outside of yourself. And so be gracious towards yourself if you are dealing with that. Like I said, I really hope to get maybe a little bit more understanding, but I don't really understand it because, like I said, you'll never be anybody else, you know, regardless of what you try, regardless of what you think you can achieve. Like, you were here for a purpose. You have purpose, and it's your responsibility to figure out what that is. That's not on anybody. You can't go around certain people and be like, oh, you know what I mean? It's not anybody's responsibility to fill your cup. It's not anybody's responsibility to ignite the passion that's inside of you, you know. And the thing about this here, you know, with entrepreneurship and artistry and all of these things, I really feel like when it came to me being an artist, you guys, and just, you know, a writer and all of it, I really feel like it was something I was born with. I think it was something I had to cultivate, obviously, over time. But I think what a lot of people go wrong is you may not be built for those fields. Like maybe you are really meant to be a doctor and you're very talented in that area of expertise, and so I said doctor because I'm just thinking like, straight off the dome. But I think a lot of times we don't really take the time to explore other things because we feel like we have to be this, or we're looking at other people that we may, admire to some extent, and we feel like we have to do what they're doing. And that's not what you were called and put here to do. So just be willing to explore other things and give yourself that grace to step out of those fields, because sometimes that's just not what's for you in life. And you may find way more fulfillment, actually being a nurse or being, in a different arena other than those two arenas that, are mainly popular. And don't let anybody tell you that you can't make a certain type of a certain level of income or reach a certain financial threshold while you're in those spaces, So the word for today is grace. Give people grace. A lot of people are dealing with their own things. It has nothing to do with you. Give yourself grace. I tell myself all the time, man, if I'm ever struggling with certain things, I'm like, man, just be gracious. I'm human. It's life. It's ebbs and flow. Like, it's nothing that we can really do about it. But give yourself grace and just know, like, if you put that work in, like you putting that work in on yourself to become a better person, you putting that work in, just in your craft or whatever, like, despite what you're going through right now, if you're putting in the work, you will reap your harvest. Okay. And just know that if you somebody like me, I think we've all experienced loss, right? At the end of the day, there's so much more to be gained. And when it shows up at your front doorstep, don't be bitter. Don't be gracious. You ain't got to say nothing to the haters. Don't pay no respect. You know what I mean? But at the same time, just know that you deserved it. So really bask in your seasons of happiness because you deserved it. So I hope everybody has a great day, and I'm going to leave you guys with your thoughts.